Welcome back to Operational Research. In this video, we are going to learn what is process design. Let's look at it. Here we are going to discuss how we are going to select a process, which means process selection, then types of process flows, then the product process matrix, and finally how to do the break-even analysis. Process design. It is a method a company uses to understand organizational processes and ways to improve them. It is structuring various elements need to create product or services in a manner that capture the market and contribute with the maximum economic value to the business, which means they are going to create a product or service which capture the customers at the same time to maximize its profit. This can be especially important if a company wants to start a new service or a new product, or want to expand or reach new customers with efficient operations. So why we need an effective design? An effective design process would match product or service characteristics with customer requirement. We know that ultimate objective of a firm is to satisfy the customers. So our product or service should satisfy the customer requirement. So the process should be able to satisfy the end customer requirement. And it will ensure that customer requirements are met in the simplest and least cost manner. Even though we can add high value added features with high cost, if it is not tally with the customer price requirement, then our product will fail. Therefore, we have to ensure that customer requirements will be met in the least cost manner as well as in the simplest manner. If the product user manual is complicated, then the features are complicated, it may find difficult to customer to operate that operations or the product. In that case, we have to ensure there should be a simple operations to operate the product. Then only the customer will find it easy to attach with the product. Then it should be reduce the time required to design a product or service. If the designing time is high, then in the product life cycle, we have to spend more time on research and development stage. Then, if our competitor is faster than us, he may grab the market earlier than us. Therefore, we have to reduce the time required to design the product in the process design. At the same time, we have to minimize the revisions which needs to make the design workable. If there is a lengthy process to revise the product, then also the business process engineering time will be higher, which means we have to incur additional cost for the new revisions, which make our product more costly. At the same time to market will be a lengthier process. Now let's see how we can simplify the design. Now you can see the original design in bed is little bit complicated with more knobs, nuts are involved. Therefore, assembly using common fasteners are difficult. But in the revised design, what we are going to do a one-piece based and elimination of fasteners. Then in the final design, you can see the design for push and snap assembly can be identified without using much fasteners. The product designing and development is not an individual effort. The successful product comes with the successfulness of the team. In an organization, top management should support all the functional managers as well as the operation level employees. In the process designing, the production and operation manager playing a crucial task for the successfulness of the product. He should support by the engineers by designing new products, innovative products with new features which support the customer requirements. And accounting and finance should try to minimize the cost and maximize the profit to achieve the organizational objective. As well as the marketeers should satisfy the customers and enhance the product marketability. Therefore, you can see the designing and development is a team effort. Now let's see what are the factors affecting process design. The process design depends on the product variety. It can be highly standardized or customized, or it may involve large amount of output or a small amount of output, or it may involve capital intensive, labor intensive technology, or a combination of both, as well as it may need skilled employees, or it can manage with both skilled and unskilled employees. Finally, the product lifespan also matters with the process design. Some products may have a shorter lifespan or some products may have a lengthier lifespan. When the product lifespan is shorter, then the process design is simple and it involves small processes. When the lifespan is lengthier, then it may involve multiple processes and it may be complex. There is a relationship between volume and variety. Volume is the average quantities of the product produced in the manufacturing system. It can be low volume, such as building a product or construction, or it may be high volume, such as producing consumer durables in the FMCG sector, or automobiles production as well as petrochemical productions. So you can see large number of products coming at a small time span. Sometimes there may be mid volume. In the pharmaceutical sector, we are producing small number of crops for a certain time span. Not much as high as automobiles or not much as low as building construction projects. Now what do you mean by variety? Variety is the number of alternative products and variant of each product that is offered by a manufacturing system. So variety of a product offering is like to introduce variety at various processes in the system, such as alternative production resources or additional features, then sometimes use of skilled workers to create specific parts, such as in the watch manufacturing, Titan watches, they are using specific skills of specific workers. Now, let's see how this volume and variety impact on the products. If we are producing high volume products, then we have to reduce the variety or additional features. When we are producing a single product, we can add more additional features. Just take a contractor who is building houses. Depend on the customer requirement, he can customize the house design. He can add one floor, two floor, or a story building, or it can add interiors depend on the customers. So you can see there is a negative relationship between volume and variety. There are 5 types of processing types: job shop, batch, repetitive or mass, continuous, and finally project. In job shop, the product is unique for each customer, such as a small bakery that produces beautiful custom wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or they may have pastries, different types of buns, etc. Or sometimes there may be businesses that make custom guitars or bicycles. Just take a shoe repair shop. In the shoe repair shop, there will be different types of shoes from different types of customers. And you can take an example such as commercial printing shop. So yeah, sometimes the size may be different, then the graphic may be different, depending on the customer requirement. The workers in this type of businesses are very highly skilled in their craft or trade. Often they are referred as craftsmen or makers. The volume of output is low in a job shop. A high variety of goods or services will be needed depending on the customer requirement. And here the equipment used is quite general purpose. Batch processing is used when a moderate volume of goods or services is desired. A group of identical or standardized products move through all stages of production together, with each stage completing before the next batch begins. It allows for flexibility and quality control between batches. These types of manufacturing is done when there is a repeating demand, such as beverage processing, food processing, soap manufacturing. So it involves producing a group or batch of products simultaneously rather than one at a particular time. A moderate variety in products or services can be seen, such as in a soap, color may be changed, fragrance may be changed, etc. The equipment need not be as flexible as in a job shop, but processing is still intermittent. There may be wide range of skilled employees need. At the same time, there may be moderate level skilled employees also needed. Repetitive manufacturing flow uses a series of steps to produce a final product. In the repetitive manufacturing, it involves higher volume of more standardized goods or services. Here, a repetitive processing is used, and slightly flexible of equipment is needed. The requirement of skilled workers is generally low, such as manufacturing plants, producing pencils, televisions, Automatic car washes, cafeterias can be taken as examples. Continuous flow manufacturing is a production approach where products move continuously through the manufacturing process with minimal interruption or waiting time. Material process flows smoothly and continuously. Here, the products are high volume of non-discrete and highly standardized output is desired. Here, a continuous system is used. These systems have almost no or low variety in output, hence there is no need for equipment flexibility. Highly specialized equipment can turn down the requirement of expert worker. Therefore, we can use more capital-intensive manufacturing by replacing the workers, such as producing sugar, flour, steel, salt. Factories are best examples for continuous flow. Now let's look at a project. It is a non-repetitive process, such as construction of an apartment. Even sadhya hai ne. Now let's see manufacturing process types. There are 5 types of processes: projects, job shop, batch, mass production, at the same time continuous production process. When it comes to projects, the volume is low. However, when it comes to continuous production, the volume is high. In the project, we are going to undertake a single project at a time, such as building construction, or it can be bridge construction, etc. And when it comes to job shop, most of the customized production may be undertaken, such as jewelry manufacturing, furniture, customizedly made for certain customers, etc. Then when it comes to batches, you can see large number of products which is homogeneous. Products are produced at a certain time in the same production process. When it comes to mass production, the variety is very low. At the same time, they are producing large quantities. So you can see batteries, tires, electric components, which is going on through this mass manufacturing process. When it comes to continuous production process, there is a continuous production manufacturing process is going on, and the output are coming at different stages, such as in petroleum refining. You can see the gases, you can see the petroleum, then you can see the kerosene, tar, likewise. So you can see there's a negative relationship between the volume and variety. In the projects, the volume is low, but you can do more customized variations. You can add features to these projects. But when it comes to mass and continuous production, the variety is very low. We are going on homogeneous production and the volume is high. As a result, when the volume is high, you can't do more flexible things. Therefore, the flexibility is low. And when the products are customizedly made, you can add more variety, which means you can be lean or you can be flexible in the manufacturing process. When we are going to do customized production, then the cost per unit is increasing based on the variety. When we are doing homogeneous production for large quantities, the cost per unit is low. So I think you have a clear understanding by going through this one, how the volume and variety changes in the inverse relationship and how the cost per unit and flexibility increases depend on the variety. Let's
to more detailed with regarding to these process types. When it comes to project, you can see a unique product. But when it comes to batch, you are producing depend on the orders, which means made to order. In the mass production, you are going to produce for large quantities for inventory purpose. These are standardized products. In the continuous production, you are producing homogeneous commodities. You can't uniquely separate the products. As a commodity, you are going to produce it. Now let's see what are the types of customers. In the project, you are having one customer at a time. In the batch production, you have few individual customers who are catering to same products, same homogeneous products. In the mass production, you are going to produce for the mass market, which means for the whole population. At the same time, for the continuous production, you are going to produce for the mass market, for the whole population. Now, let's see what are the product demands. In a project, you have an infrequent demand. It's depend. In a batch, you have a fluctuated demand, which means the demand may be go up and down. In mass production, most of the time, you have a stable demand. Depend on the stable demand, we are going to produce large quantities. Then when it comes to continuous, we have a very stable demand. The market is seeking our product, therefore our demand is stable, such as petroleum, cement, etc. We are undertaking unique projects at a certain time, such as constructing a bridge or constructing a ship, etc. So these types of projects, we have a really low demand. But when it comes to batches, the demand may be varied from low to medium. In the mass production, we have a high demand. At the same time, in the continuous production, we have a very high demand. So demand is gradually increasing, which means the volume is increasing from project to continuous production. Now, variety involved in the project. So, infinite variety means we are producing different types of value additions for the projects. When it comes to batches, we are going to do the many variations. Sometimes in the soap, you can see Lux soap, different colors, different smells are involved. When it comes to mass production, you can see few variations, such as garments. They are going to produce different colors, different fabrics only. Not much variations can be identified from the batches. When it comes to continuous production, there is a really low variety, which means there are low number of different products. When it comes to production system in the project, it will take long-term projects. It will take long time period. The batches, the time period is discrete. It depends on the customer. And in the mass production, you can see a repetitive assembly line production. They are going for in a garment manufacturing, from cutting, sewing, packing, so on and so forth. Then in the continuous production, the continuous production process is going on. Now let's see what are the equipment needed for each type of processes. When it comes to projects, since there are so many varieties or value additions are made, therefore different types of equipment are needed. Therefore equipment are varied. In the batch production, there is general purpose tools are used. In the mass production, we are going to use special purpose tools depend on the production. When it comes to continuous production, we are fully automated. Most of the time for these type of productions, we are going to use AI or robotics. Now let's see what are the primary type of work. In the projects, there is a special contact made on a project requirement. Sometimes special engineers may be assisted, sometimes skilled workers may be used. In the batch production, there is a fabrication involved. And in the mass production, you can see assembly, which means they are going to assemble the product in different stages. When it comes to continuous production, you can see there is a mixing involved, treating involved, refining involved. There are several stages. There is a continuous production process in each stage. Now let's see what are the worker skills. In the project, there is a experts, there may be craft persons used. In the batch production, wide range of skilled workers may be needed. But in the mass production, such as garment factory, to the bottom level, unskilled and some skill level employees may be needed. But in the top level, there is a special, unique skill labors may be needed. Therefore, limited range of skills is needed in the mass production. Since we are going to use AI robotics, in the continuous production, we need workers just to monitor the equipment. Now let's see what are the advantages of each processes. So in the project, we can do the customized work and latest technology can be used to produce these projects. When it comes to batches, it's flexible and we can maintain the quality. In the mass production, it is more efficient and you can do the production in a speed manner and low cost involved. In the continuous production, the production is highly efficient, which means you can use small input to produce large number of output. And you need large capacity and large production volume can be seen. And it is easy to control because of the low variety. Now what are the disadvantages? In the projects, it is non-repetitive, which means we are not going to do it continuously. We are grabbing a small customer base and the projects are really costly and expensive. In batches, it's costly, but it is slow since we are going to produce large number of homogeneous products at the same time. And sometimes the production batches is difficult to manage because if there is a small error in certain stage, then the cost is high. When it comes to mass production, there is a high capital investment. At the same time, there may be lack of responsiveness as well. In the continuous production, it's difficult to change the production process. Therefore, there may be far-reaching errors and limited variety because of the large number of production on a continuous basis. Now, what are the examples for projects? You can see constructions, shipbuilding, spacecraft building, etc. For batch production, machine shops, printing shops, bakeries, education institutes, they are going to produce batches. In the mass production, automobiles, which means car manufacturing, television manufacturing, computers, fast foods. In the continuous production, paint production, chemicals, then foodstuffs, you can see. Now I think you have a clear idea with regard to different types of processes. Processes convert input to output. They are the core of operations management. Process selection refers to deciding on the way the production of goods or services will be organized. In other words, it is the way of goods or services are made or delivered. It influences the numerous aspects of an organization, including capacity planning, layout facilities, equipment, and design of work systems. Now, let's see what are the key aspects of process selection. First, we have to see the capital intensity, the mix of equipment and labor that will be used by the organization. If an organization is more capital intensive, then more equipment can be used. AI can be used, robotics can be used if it is capital intensive. If it is labor intensive, then more of skilled laborers and unskilled laborers can be used, such as in garment manufacturing. Most of the capital intensive production process can be seen in the automobile manufacturing. Then process flexibility. It is the degree to which the system can be adjusted to changes in the processing requirement due to such factors as change in the product or service design, change in the volume process, and changes in the technology. Just imagine you are going for a tailor. Then, depend on your customer requirement, the tailors are manufacturing different garments for you. So they are using different fabrics. Sometimes it may be silk material, it may be cotton material, it may be wool material. Depend on the material, they are going to use different types of needles and different methods of cutting. At the same time, different types of stitching. So the process flexibility is more needed when it comes to project and job shop, and less process flexibility needed when you are doing the mass production and continuous production. Then the variety in product or services will the system need to handle is one of the key aspects. So what degree of the equipment flexibility needed, what is the expected volume of output, they have to focus. There are three types of flow that can define the way a business or corporation works. First one is a continuous flow. It is also called a streamlined flow. Examples are fast food joints, car manufacturing, etc. Here, it basically has non-work in progress inventory. As the name suggests, one step is followed by another, and it goes on till the finished product. Intermittent flow. This flow needs the process for varieties that are provided. For example, a restaurant depends on the time of service. The food is prepared and kept, enabling the faster service. Also, if the time is of non-rush hours, then it is follows order and prepare the basis to avoid waste. Jumble fold again. The name suggests it is a combination of above two flows. For example, if we have 3 stations and 2 jobs are to be done using those stations, there can be a jumble flow to follow to finish each job. Now as a summary, you can see continuous flow, which means we are going to do the production at one step and the second step is going after finishing the first step. So it's going continuously until the product finishes. But in the intermittent flow, it's depend on the customer requirement. If we are in a rush hour in a restaurant, they can have the pre-prepared meals and they can serve it to faster the service, such as in the McDonald's, in the Pizza Hut, they can have the pizza patty get ready, then they can have the burger buns to get ready, then depend on the customers in the rush hour, they can prepare it. When there's no rush hour, they can prepare it easily, such as they can produce customized salads, then drinks, so far and so forth. Then in the jumble flow, it is a jumble of continuous and intermittent. Now let's look at the product process matrix. The product process matrix was first introduced by Robert Hayes and Stephen Wheelwright in the Harvard Business Review in 1979. The product process matrix is a tool that analyzes the relationship between the product life cycle and the manufacturing process. It helps organizations to identify the type of production approach they should use for a product based on the volume of the product being produced and the amount of customization or the variety it needed. The first dimension of the matrix is the product life cycle. It measures the maturity of the product or market. It ranges from highly customized product to highly standardized product. The second dimension measures the maturity of the manufacturing process and it ranges from high unit cost to highly automated or low unit cost processes. So now you can see the product process matrix in this chart. So you can see when the volume is increasing, they are going to shift from continuous flow to jumble flow. So in the job shop, there is more variety and customization of products can be seen. Therefore, they can use jumble flow, which means they can go for continuous flow as well as intermittent flow or combination of both. But when it comes to continuous production, then there is a large volume of units involved. Therefore, more standardized products can be seen. Therefore, since the production process is ongoingly going on, we can use continuous flow. When it comes to mass production, we are going to use assembly line. So here we are going to use the connected line flow. Each line or each process is connected to the next one. First we are going to get the material, then we are going to cut the material, then we are going to sew in the material, then we are going to send it for washing, then the garments are coming to the factory again, then they are going to iron it, then they are going to packing, so far and so forth. The assembly line is continuously going on. But when it comes to batch production, there is a disconnected line flows. Just imagine a beverage company. So they are going to take the bottles, then in a certain line, they are going to send it for washing, then they are going to fill it with the liquid, then they are going to tighten up the knobs. Likewise, it's going on. There's a disconnected lines for each batches. Now let's see how we are going to select the process with break-even analysis. Break-even means we are going to have no profit or no loss. So first we are going to identify what are the costs involved in these processes. There are two types of cost, that is fixed as well as variable. Fixed cost means it is constant regardless of the number of units produced. When it comes to variable cost, it's varied with the volume of units produced. Then we have the revenue. Revenue is the price at which an item is sold. Then the total revenue we can get by taking the price into the volume it sold. The profit means the difference between the total revenue and the total cost. Now you can see different formulas which is used for the break-even analysis. First one, total cost. It is the combination of fixed and variable cost. Then we have total revenue, that is the volume into price. Then we have profit, that is the difference between total revenue and total cost. So at the break-even, there is no profit or no loss, which means the total revenue should be equal to the total cost, which means total revenue is the volume into price, that is VP, and total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. So ultimately, the volume should be the fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Now solve this example and try to find whether you can obtain the break-even number of units. Now you can see the graphical representation of the break-even analysis. Now in this slide, you can see the summary of processing types. Please go through it and update your knowledge with regarding to 5 types of processing in the manufacturing system.